Hi guys, hope you're doing well. It's your girl Jennifer and I am back with another conversation, and I believe it's going to be a conversation that is going to open your mind and it's going to be of help to you. Welcome to Against All Odds. So today I want us to talk about teaching our children or young adults responsibility. Are you responsible as a young adult, as an adult, or even as a child? Are you? Because I believe there's some young people who watch this channel. Are you? If you're asked, are you responsible? We're going to find that out in a minute. So, for me, I like to use very practical examples because all this has to do with our mental health. I have seen people come to me, especially parents, and most of the time they come and ask me, Jennifer, how can I teach my children or my young adults or some youth I have in the house responsibility? And it almost looks like a straightforward thing, but I know from experience it's not very straightforward. So I do not want to just talk about the normal things, because they are the occasional things that you already know, and if I mention them you'll think, oh, I'm always doing that, I'm doing that, I'm doing. So it's like you're ticking the boxes, I'm doing that. For example, give children tasks, yes, you're already doing that. Set an example, you're already doing that. For example, give them age appropriate tasks, you're already doing that. Let them work, then go play, you're already doing that. In case they are not doing something, there's always a consequence, you're doing that. Yeah, that helps. To a level and to an extent it helps. But for me, I want to talk about it from the practical point of view. I've always wanted to be very practical. Some of the things that we struggle with as human beings, it's because we do things the normal way, but there's a level of practicality that sometimes we miss out on. And also, depending on the individual, we generalize sometimes responsibility, especially if you have 2-3 children, you expect all of them to master the same thing the same way because you're the same parents or the same guardians or the same elder brother, elder sister. And then in the long run, it ends up working against you. On the other hand, it could end up bringing about rebellion. So I want to talk about things, how you can avoid this and how you can set yourself up to be on the winning side. And I'll give you my practical experiences. I always like to give my practical experiences because I have been there, made the mistakes. Now I am able to look back and see the mistakes I made or the mistakes that were made that set me up not on the right path. But not because I'm in a mental health position and role, I can look at things holistically without like leaning on one side. And so, yeah, so let's delve into this and I'll give my practical examples. So for me growing up, my dad was a veterinarian and my mom was a teacher. So for as long as I can remember, I think we were privileged. I've come from a privileged background because Dad could put food on the table, not one meal, all the meals we needed. We could go places that not many kids would go to. I was born and found a car outside our house. So clearly, for me, I feel I came from a privileged household. But then, back in the days, I used to see like children who are as privileged as we were, they were never doing some of the things we were doing. For example, for me, as much as I remember, we always used to have house helps. People call them domestic managers today, house managers. Yes, let me go with the simple term, house helps. So I grew up finding house helps in our home. But I remember clearly, house helps had their duties and their roles they used to play, and mom would give us some of those duties to do. For example, there are times would be asked to clean the house, would clean the house, the dishes, and this one not cleaning was not a thing of you do today, tomorrow you don't do, the house girl does. No, every day you had to do chores. So today it could be the dishes, tomorrow it could be washing the house, tomorrow it could be cleaning the car, anything. And the examples I'm giving, they have spanned over since I could remember. I think, let me talk about from age 7, where like I can have like proper clear memory. Yeah, so we used to clean. We used to do chores. But then, when we were at around the same age 7 and age 8, that I think back in the days, we used to be maybe in class 1 or class 2. Every holiday we would go to the village. And when you go to the village, my parents had farms. And before my parents had so many farms, at least my grandparents had farms. And how farming used to be done in those years, you could go and dig in your own farm. But what I found happening then, they used to call it, allow me to use the cucumber word that they would use. So they would call it mwethia. Mwethia is like, it's like a communal way of digging. So for example, people in the village, they come together on a certain day and they come and help you dig in your farm. Then on another day, you are going to go and help somebody else dig in their farm. So it used to happen. And then what you do as the person they're coming to help, you provide food. And food then used to be githeri. Githeri is a mixture of maize and beans. You could boil them, then later fry them, or even just boiled and with salt could do. So that is what used to happen. So when we would go to the village, we would go to dig with the people who are coming to help my parents or my grandparents to dig. It's at this point I think many of you are thinking child abuse. For me, there's a very thin line of children being taught responsibility and abuse. Whatever I'm talking about here is nothing to do with abuse and nothing to do with slavery. Probably later you will understand what I mean. So if digging to you is abuse, excuse me, because for me, I don't think it is. So yes, so we would go and dig. Those times they'd give us holes that were, for children, they were small, for adults were big. So when the adults are digging, like here, would be told to start maybe 4, 5, maybe 50 meters ahead of them, because we were little children, so our digging is not neat. So they will start, and by the time they come to catch up with us where we have not done it right, they will do it right. In those times, digging used to start from morning to about 1 o'clock. So you could go to the farm at around 7 o'clock, because you don't want the sun to be too hot, and you don't want to be too late because it's going to get hot quickly. So yeah, so my dad introduced us to digging. I want you to just see the concept of us being introduced to digging. I have 2 brothers and myself, so the 3 of us would go. And at that time, we also had cousins that would still join us. So I remember those days would dig. When we get tired, they would allow us to sit for a bit, take a break, come back and join them. But I remember very clearly, my dad would allow us to go to the farm when everybody else is going to the farm. That is at 7 o'clock. So waking up early, doing the morning preparation, have the breakfast, would do it with everybody else, get to the farm when everybody else is getting into the farm, and leave the farm when everybody else is leaving the farm. So that was part one, like how one of the things I saw. So growing up, then it got to advance, then would be divided for portions for ourselves, where we had to dig, and this time dig neatly, like you have to do it the proper way. You don't expect any elder to come and dig after you, like neatening up your job. So you had to do it well. Then it came to a place where that communal digging became like less, and now you had to start to pay people to come and help you dig. So when it also came to that point, when we would go to dig, we would start at the same time and finish at the same time. And my parents would give us the same wage, everybody who came as a casual laborer to dig in our farms. So whatever wage they were getting in terms of monetary pay, we would also get it. But before we started getting the monetary pay, I remember for us it started as like treats. So mommy would say, oh, today you've done digging, we are going to have chicken, we are going to have chapati, we are going to have beef today, like, and you know, like how you can have beef, but maybe if on that day you could have had a kilo, now because you dug and did a good job, you could now increase the portions to be like 2 kilos, or have one that you do for soup and another one you could do fry. So just like those simple treats. Then now it came to us being paid financially. So, but now when it came to being paid, I'll get to that. So yes, so we got paid like everybody else. Now, when I was in high school, I remember I dreaded going to the village. Like when I say we are going to go to the village, I know what we are going to do, and I dreaded it and I hated it. For me, honestly, I can sincerely say I thought my parents were being very unfair, and I thought we were being punished. And I kept on wondering why we are always punished through digging. Why can't we find something else to do? Now, because I'm the only girl, sometimes instead of me going to dig with everybody else, I would be left to tend the pot that has food that people who will come after the digging experience will come to the food they are going to come and eat. So how do you used to do it? It used to be you put the pot on fire, and you used to use firewood. So you have to keep on. Unfortunately, it is a cucumber that is coming in my mind of how Kokitania, of how we used to. Okay, so it's when the firewood has burned and burnt and burnt, then it's getting so far away from the fire. So you have to keep on coming and bringing it into the fire so that you keep the fire alive. Yeah, because this food used to take hours and hours to cook, and so you needed to be there to attend to this fire. You see, so you can imagine the smoke. You can imagine you want to play because you're a young child. You want to play, and this thing is inconveniencing you. So sometimes you go and play a bit, and then you forget, and you come, and the fire has gone down, and the food is not getting cooked, and it's almost time for people to come. And definitely, if mommy and daddy and everybody comes from the farm and they find that the food is not ready, it's going to be an issue. So now you have to start working so hard. Yeah, so clearly that was the experience. So, yeah, so I've told you we used to do chores. Then now we were introduced to digging. So let me come to the financial aspect of it. When my dad used to pay us, assume this whole week is a digging week because you're preparing farms at a certain time. Then, so sometimes you would go, you have dug this season. The next time it is a harvesting season. So even when it comes to harvesting, we would still go and do the harvesting. So clearly for me, I can manage a farm from start to finish because I was taught to do that. And then at some point, my dad had, a vegetable farm where they would grow vegetables to sell in the market. And that was a whole different ballgame altogether. We had to learn that, we had to do it, and to do it well, because vegetables are very sensitive. So did all that. My parents introduced us even how to sell things in the market. Clearly, we came from a privileged background, but we were taught to do things like somebody who was never privileged at all. But then also now when it came to the money, my parents didn't just pay us the money and then leave us to do whatever we wanted with the money. They still had a level of control with this money. So for example, they would tell you, the money that you will get over this holiday, it's going to be your pocket money for the new term when you go to school. We were in boarding schools most of the time. And you're thinking, why do I have to work for my pocket money? Why? Why on earth should I work for my pocket money? Yes, that is what used to happen. And in case you asked for something sometimes, my parents would ask you, I remember you worked 5 days, and these 5 days I think you earned this amount, and whatever you're needing is only a portion of whatever you're asking for. Is it okay for you to use your pocket money? And you're thinking like, but my pocket money was for school. Yes, use that pocket money. So those are some of the things that my parents made us do. Sometimes if you wanted something so bad, like a book you really needed, or you wanted, like, for me, I remember growing up, I used to really love shades. So anywhere I would see shades, I just wanted to buy them. And you know how these things break easily. So I'd keep on buying shades and buying shades. So most of the time I used to buy them from what? My pocket money. Sometimes if you wanted treats, my parents were not going to give you money for treats. No. You need to keep and manage your pocket money so that you're able to buy your own treats. Definitely, I found that very unfair. I found that even my brothers, they really, because we used to have a small, do you know how siblings have these meetings where they come and discuss parents? If you're a parent, know your children discuss you. And sometimes they don't say the most of the nicest of things. I dread that time because I have daughters. Oh, Yes, so we'd go and have a meeting to discuss how unfair our parents are. Sometimes we even sit them in a meeting, sit them down to just voice out our disappointment towards some things. So I'm just giving an example of farming and the pocket money. And the other thing I want to mention, I've grown up in a Christian family. So another thing that we needed to do is every Sunday we needed to ask for our offering and plan our tithe in advance. You do not ask my parents for offering on a Sunday morning. No. Sunday is a day for you to dress up, get yourself into the car, and we go to church. And when it's time for you to go to Sunday school or go for your youth church, you need to go with your with your offering. You do not come to my parents and start asking for offering. You do not go to church and do not carry your Bible. You do not go to church and you do not have a notebook or a pen. See, it sounds like a very strict family, yeah? Yes, it was. So, yes. And you do not go and sit at the back of the church. You always went and sat at the front in the church. Or even if we had meetings, even if they were not church meetings, you never sat at the back. You had to sit at the front. If we went to church or to any place and we found people cleaning or doing any chore to set up, to decorate the place, you never needed to be told. You needed to go and start participating in what people are doing. If the church is finished and maybe people are eating and everything, you need to go and help clear the tables and go and help out with the washing. You do not need to be told by my dad or my mom. And if they needed to come and tell you that, then you'd not be in very good books with them. And we knew that from when we were young. You see? And it's not us only who used to do that. I think the community then, that is what they used to do. So, those simple scenarios that I have given, let me fast forward to the time I leave high school, I finish high school, and I'm in college. My college life and time, most of the time my parents were in the village and I was the only one in the city. This is when everything my parents had taught me back from when I was little, that is when it started playing out and making sense. I stayed in that house by myself with my brother, my brothers. The house was always clean. We knew how to divide chores. We had food to eat because we were able to take to apportion the money that our parents would give us, and would know when the bills needed to be paid, because my parents had given us and shown us when the electricity bill needs to be paid, where do you pay it? The water bill, where do you pay it? We were able to run the home smoothly like my parents were there. And because my parents used to come back often, when they came home, they never needed to tell us we are coming. They'll just tell you we are on our way coming. By that time, you will get a meal ready for them. You will, they will not come and start wondering, why does this house look abandoned? Why does it look like it is a slum? Yet there are people living in this house. There's one key responsibility that I also want to mention that I learned at that time, and I learned the hard way. Making beds. I hated making beds. But my mom made me make beds till she could not tell me to make beds again. I remember at one point in my bed, I would go to sleep because you're not making your bed. Sometimes you're going to bed with very dirty shoes and everything. So one time you're sleeping and you hear something moving in the bed and something on your body, and only to open the blankets and find cockroaches. Yes, it has happened to me. Not once, not twice, many times, because I was that dirty. But my mom made sure it settles in my mind that making beds and having neat bedding is going to be something that I'm going to uphold. Thank you, Mom. Thank you so much. Today, I make my beds so neatly. I never understand when I find children and young people not making beds, and I'm not even surprised, even adults. Even adults. Many adults today do not know how to make beds. Yes. So, I remember the things I struggled with. My mom ensured those are the things I do every day. I hated washing dishes. I even hate washing dishes today, but I still do them very well. And I would do dishes, clean, but not clean the sink. Immediately I leave and go to watch TV, my mom would call me back and tell me I need the sink clean. Sometimes I would wash the dishes and not use soap because I want to finish quickly and leave. My mom will bring me back, put all the utensils back into the sink and tell me I need you to wash them with soap. Immediately she steps out, I rinse them quickly, put them back. She will come again and bring me back. My mom is a teacher. Teachers are very patient, and they don't, for discipline to come into your mind, you have to repeat. Children can throw tantrums as much as they want, but until they know that it will make it easier for themselves, for them to stop misbehaving and taking things for granted, and they do the right thing, it will be faster and quicker for them. So, yes, so those are the things that I learned over that time. And so after that, we realized that today, me and my brothers, I believe we have turned out well. For those that you know us, we do our best, And that was the system and their upbringing. Today, I thank my parents very much because I believe I can live in any affluent area and I can live in any deprived area because I have the skills that can help me to live in both worlds, because I was put in a place where I was set up for life, not just for a home. You see. But now let me come back to responsibility. Now, these people, or if you're a parent and you're complaining, my children are not responsible, my children are not doing this. My question is, what have you prepared them for? Nowadays, I see people who are very affluent. What they do, they make all the helpers in the house do everything as your children sit down and they're on the tablets. It is okay. You're in a place of affluence and everything. It is fine. But I'm telling you, you're not preparing your children to fight at life. When you bring them to the world, and remember, the world is not an ideal world. Your home could be. The world is not. The world is very broken. The world has very many challenges. So, you need to introduce children to chores and responsibilities. Sometimes not because they need them, but it is because it works their mind. When a child is planning a chore from point A to point B, it is making use of their mind. They are planning time. They are weighing all the options of advantages and disadvantages. Because I've told you, my dad was very strict and my parents were very strict. So if we do not do things like this, there is going to be this consequence, and this consequence will put you at a bad place. For example, if you do not go to the farm and get that pocket money, it means you will go to school without pocket money. And my parents will have no problem you going to school without pocket money, because after all, the school, they've paid the school fees, the school, they're providing food. So clearly you even do not need this pocket money. But if you have the pocket money, you'll be able to buy that extra loaf of bread that you want. You'll be able to buy that extra sweet or something that you need. So if you do this chore, there's this benefit. And the benefit outweighs you not being very flexible and adaptable. Think about today people, why many people are in debt. Why are many young people in debt or not able to help themselves and support themselves in life? Sometimes it is because as parents, we deny them the opportunity to think ahead. Have you had this situation where you do not have money and your child needs something that to them, they need it desperately? And they can't wait. And then you're going and you're working so hard to get loans like the following day just to fulfill this desire your child has, or to gratify this need the child has. Sometimes, if you're listening and watching me today, sometimes pause. That moment of luck, let me call it a moment of luck. That moment of luck could teach a child patience. Could teach a child that things are not picked just on the streets. You don't pick money on the streets. That is teaching responsibility. When your child asks for something and you give it here and there, don't feel bad when they think they make you be on their beck and call, because they know they just need to mention it, you provide it. You see, sometimes if they mention it today, you can give it 2 weeks. Even if you have it today, you can give it 2 weeks to teach patience. If they're always whining and saying, oh, mommy, I asked for this, and giving you an attitude, make them wait longer for 4 weeks. Reason being, it teaches responsibility. Because there are things, you will go to a government office today and you need to be offered a certain service, and unfortunately the systems go down. What will happen? Will you start whining and throwing tantrums on the floor of a government office or of an institution just because you want your passport ready today? And because you know you have paid for, what is it called? The express service or the fast service. You know? Some of these things are what teaches us responsibility. Let me ask this parent who you have children who are working and living with you, young adults working and living with you. Why are they not supporting you with the bills? I know your answer, right? Your answer is you have the money. Your business is doing so well, so they can keep their little money to themselves, so I do not need their finances. Yes, that is very right. But let me tell you something. You do not need the finances of those children because it's little, and that is very good. But giving these children responsibility to pay that bill from that little money they have will teach them responsibility they will never learn anywhere else. They will know they are earning 500 pounds from this job. Electricity is 200 pounds. They'll be left with 300 pounds. I will tell you for a fact, these 300 pounds, they will make it go forward and do much more for themselves because they know they have to be responsible and accountable. These bills you do not make your children pay. This electricity, 50 pounds here, this gas bill here, or you're always driving them to work. It is good. But then that chance for them to take a bus to work or a train to work or even ride the bicycle to work and they get a puncture. They will know tomorrow when I'm riding a bicycle, I will not ride on the grass because there may be hidden things there that might puncture my bicycle and it will delay me to get to work because I need to get the puncture sorted. You see, when they are going to take the bus, they will need to go in time because if they miss the bus, they will have to wait and it's going to make them late for work. The other thing they will know, if it is raining, they do not have the car to shield them. They will have to buy appropriate clothes that will need to shield them from the rain. You see, if there's a day that there's traffic and they cannot get to an appointment in time, they will know because they use that route often, they will know there's always traffic at this time. So they either go before traffic or they find an alternative. That is making the brain think. There are things that you need to set people up for them to think. Think about the relatives that come and stay with you. You're always cooking for them, cleaning after them. You're always reminding them, oh, it's time for you to shower. So-and-so, it's time for you to shower. So-and-so, it's time for you to eat. After they eat, they leave plates on the table for you. It's not a problem. You may be a mother who doesn't mind cleaning after your children. It is okay. But in life, I don't think many people will clean after you, your children. Many people will not clean after you. And it's unfortunate when you go into a work situation and you're given, you're the director of this company and there's a problem. And you're supposed to come up with a solution to this problem. And you cannot come up with a solution because you are not equipped to come up with solutions because some responsibility was taken up from you. Responsibilities work the mind. They work the mind in ways nothing else can do. So when you're taking away responsibility and duties and chores, and sometimes the more difficult a chore is, it is good because it needs a deeper thinking. You see, have you had people in Africa that have done wonders? Like this boy who I'm always in awe of, this Maasai boy who came up with the lights. You can Google that story. There's this a boy in Kenya who used to go and take, they used to hunt cattle. And then because in the villages they cannot, they do not have electricity, he came up with this energy saving bulbs where he would put around the pen of the cattle, and when lions would come they wouldn't devour the animals. Why? Because cattle is precious to the Maasai community. Would that boy be able to do that if he wasn't faced with a challenge? What if the parents took away the responsibility from him of going out to hunt? Would he have known how important cattle are to the Maasai community and understand that these cattle need to be protected? Responsibilities have a way of setting us up to fight at the world. The world is very brutal. The world is not forgiving. So, when you are about to give your children privileges, and the privileges that will stop their minds, because they say whatever you don't use, you lose. If you do not train your mind to be to solve solutions, to find to deal with problems and find working solutions and practical solutions, then you start losing. Your brain starts dying slowly and slowly, and that's why you find big adults in a place, in an organization. You go there and wonder, these are adults and we have so much dirt lying everywhere, so much litter, the place is in a mess. Why? Responsibility was taught, or some things about responsibility were missed. Does that resonate with you? If it does, remember to change the world, change your mind. It's your girl Jennifer, and this has been Against All Odds. See you on the next video. Bye.